So I'd like to, first of all, welcome all of you to TiE Silicon Valley, and I know all of you are doing amazing things in your own chapters, and then, of course, Nitin and Vijay are here, connecting us to all of you. Before I get started, I just wanted to kind of give you a little backdrop on how I look at, yes. So basically, I've seen as these chapters have evolved over the last 15 years, I've been a chapter member, and I see a lot of fresh, new chapters in developing parts of our communities, their small towns, are doing an amazing job. So when I look at an entrepreneur and how you can be relevant to the entrepreneur, I would divide the whole group of our entire initiatives of what you would call chapters into two, based upon whether you are from a mature ecosystem, like let's say Silicon Valley or Boston or Delhi, for example, in India, amazing job they're doing. So Atlanta, I'm not very much Pune. I just heard a lot of praise of Pune. So my point to you is, if you are already a mature ecosystem and you could draw upon resources that actually you can leverage, and the kind of need to really engage with the entrepreneur is very, very different than what you would do if you're trying to be a mentor in Coimbatore. So for example, in the Silicon Valley, being an inspirational mentor is a dated concept. Nobody really has the time to sit with you for more than 5 minutes. And nobody really wants to give you the 5 minutes either. So basically, in today's world, it's all about virtual engagements, and then you have the entrepreneur has a very specific need, takes 5-7 minutes to address, and whoever has that expertise can support that willingly. So it's a mutually consensual engagement, and if he sees that it's in his own, her own domain expertise and can help the entrepreneur, we could facilitate that. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'll pretty much present today as to what we are trying to do. Last 3 years, we've been building on this whole concept. And we kicked the tires a few times, and then we've launched the first part of the TiEcon portal a few months ago. We're still making a lot of changes, but I'm just going to give you my perspective on how we are going to look at this at Silicon Valley, because it has to be a self-sustaining model. The very first thing that we think about being an entrepreneur is you got to make it work, right? It's not like somebody is going to come and drop us goodwill money. So basically, it has to be a self-sustaining program. So we built this platform called TiEcon, basically TiE for the brand TiE and Eco for the ecosystem of entrepreneurs. And of course, we have a mobile app. I don't know how many of you guys actually downloaded our TiEcon app. I'm seeing only my executive director and, of course, my friend Puneet. I bother him every day. And I just see 3 people, But let me just tell you that you could connect with 120,000 people on the mobile app that we have right now. And of course, those have to be earned privileges. So I'll talk about those later. But basically, it's an awful lot of work, but it is actually very pure, focused on relevant engagement. It's not like everybody wants to come and connect with, let's say, Nitin, So he won't have the time or the willingness to really engage, first of all. So we need to really manage that. So that's one thing. And then the data gets dated, like 20 to 30% of the data gets dated every single year. That's a tremendous amount of resource allocation to that, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of real assets, let me put it that way, to keep it current and active and engageable. So basically, right now, we have what I would call current and live engagements into startups, over 15,000 startups. These are primarily mid to late stage. See, we have, probably received in the TiE 50 program about 35 to 40,000 startups as applicants. But about half of them die at the end of the year. When you come back and go and try to invite them, say, hey, you applied last year, you're welcome to come back. We opened up the emails bounce. To tell you that, so there's a lot of death in the early stage startups, and it's very, very difficult to really keep on top of it. We are now tracking about 180,000 startups. When I say tracking, it's like a process where you run a crawler to check to see if the website is live and if there's any changes in the website for 3 months. And if they're not, then it's just as good as it's dead, So this is the real world we live in. So these mid to late stage startups are the ones we can really make a difference for. So there are 47,000 senior executives in these startups that we can connect with instantly, segment them by domain, geographic region, and of course, their staging as a startup. So some of them could be mid-stage, with a market cap valuation of, let's say, $250 million, and some of them could have already raised $250 million and could be over $1 billion. So we have all of that data that we use, and we are really trying to deploy in a meaningful manner. Then big tech, this is really this is one area where we are sort of underrepresented in TiE. At least I'm talking from the Silicon Valley perspective, because there are probably 20,000 senior level executives that are, let's say, of South Asian, origin, who are probably the easiest ones to appreciate and connect with us, right here in the Bay Area, in the enterprise. But we haven't done much about that. And that's happening everywhere in every major metro because of who we are and how we are focused on education, and we really grew up the enterprise, chain pretty well. But we haven't really engaged them with a data-driven concept. Then, of course, the VCs, and I don't think there's a VC fund in the Bay Area without an Indian partner. So not to kind of allude to the India, too much, but I just wanted to give you the reality, of how significantly influential we are. But we haven't really engaged them. We do have a lot of accomplished VCs in our community, so in our TiE community, that is. So then the services firms. These are the guys who kind of like depend on business from startups. As they grow, their value grows up. So meaningfully, you want to engage with them. So this platform that we've developed right now currently can connect with over 200,000 individuals worldwide. And out of them, about 20,000 are domain experts. Specifically in a particular domain, they have expertise. So I just want to, I think I'm eating up too much of your time, so I'm going to fly through these slides just to give you an overview of this, and I want to talk about how I think we can engage together. So this is kind of like an events portal that we have developed, where there's nothing like this out there in the real world, but it's, again, a lot of elbow grease. We kind of scraped 3,200 conferences all over the world in the last 2 years, looked at who are the speakers and what domains they're talking on, and that gives you an idea of what their domain expertise is. And then, of course, we also see who are the sponsors for those conferences or events. So we know if you say in a blockchain conference, who would be the companies that actually would sponsor, or who would be the companies that would exhibit. These are all data points that we've been able to pull together, but they keep changing dynamically. Basically, there's about 77,000 speakers. So they would be ranked or categorized on the basis of the number of conferences they speak to, whether they're representing an enterprise and only talking about their enterprise. That means that's pitch money, basically, that they're paying and speaking, as opposed to they being a domain expert and being invited to speak, and they speak to the trend and not to the company. So this is a qualifier. Basically, all those embedded intelligences are really worked on, and a lot of work is still required, by the way, but this is just a early stage. Just throwing this out there for you guys. My guys tried to, play around with it at TiE Inflect this year. But to be honest with you, none of these guys could decipher they'd be overwhelmed with the amount of data. So they would rather have like given them 3 contact points and say, why don't you contact or pick from one of these 3 to come on your panel. So it was like an overkill. So it didn't really, they weren't able to use it as efficiently because time is of the essence. So if you can plan something 6 months out, and you can invite the most compelling kind of speakers, get on their calendars ahead of time, and really make it really work. So that's really, once this platform kicks into gear, and then we're going to go to the next test on this. I think it'll be ready for us to really optimize and engage through. I would like to work with the TiE Global guys at the TiE Silicon Valley office, because it's all about data propriety. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ram, a question. So you talked about the speakers. Do we get connected to them? So, for example, if Miami wanted to invite somebody over, would this allow us to get connected, or it's just informing us of their existence and their...
No, you can only look at their faces. I'm just kidding. So basically, we are going to manage that whole platform. We're actually really trying to make it a sustainable model. So when we try to collaborate with other chapters, I will tell you about that a little bit, then you'll understand. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about how we are going to collaborate, So we also have a program that we are going to launch next month, Startup Anchor Program. We've conceived this 3 years ago. a lot of moving parts, and we really couldn't drill down to really defining exactly what are the deliverables and how we can engage with total clarity to the startup, say what exactly am I going to get out of being a part of this program, because this is going to be a paid program. So particularly, this can be effective in more mature chapters where you have fast-track startups that are engaged within your enterprise, like in Singapore or Detroit. You'd be interested in making some money, buddy? Okay. So basically, you have like 7 or 8 chapters that are like rich, locally strong ecosystems with like fast-track startups, very well funded. So we have an ability to soft connect you to the enterprise, because VCs, of course, if you're really a good company and you're already fast track, I don't think you'll need much help with us, but we can still connect you to the VCs in follow-on rounds if that's going to be helping. But that's going to be a paid program. And I'm going to work with the TiE global leadership on how we can really engage and do a more collaborative process for that. So I'm going to be presenting a little bit more deeper dive into this on Saturday morning session. I'm doing a 15-minute session focused on the Anchor program, because that's where all the different tech ecosystems of the world are coming together and speaking about what they do and why we should go there. And we would be able to facilitate you and engage directly with them. So that's the gist of exactly what we're doing. There's a lot of other moving ideas and tools we're developing and all that, but here's the thing I want to present to you. We want to see how we can work with the different chapters. So because of the way this data is structured and the kind of resource infusion that is required, and how it is really hard for us to what you would call offer data in such large quantities without any control. So we are going to control that, but we will be helping you guys and supporting that through a program. We have 3 young women who are actually going to be staffing this whole engagement model. So, and TiE Global Vijay would be probably the contact point for that. So we'll come back to you guys with ideas. So we have what we call the influencer circle we put together. It's sort of like the charter member without having to pay for anything and without any strings attached. These are the guys that are significantly accomplished. So what we do is, there are some soft values for that. If you go on our website, TiEcon, and see influencer, you'll see why should you join to be an influencer, and there's a bunch of reasons why they should join. And it's actually based upon mutual interest is what we connect people to them. Of course, the domain experts are the ones that have not signed up to be an influencer. So you're willing to sign up and you're willing to give time, and that's a lot less number of people than there are domain experts. But let me just tell you this, we tested this. If you're a domain expert and you didn't really want to be part of the influencer circle, it's almost like I'm labeling you with something, and I don't know what I'm going to get out of it or how I'm going to be represented, so I'd rather not. But if there's anything of significance, come to me kind of deal. And otherwise, too, even if you never met them or engaged with them, if there is a specific need, and an organization like us could go and say, hey, here is this startup, this is what they're doing, it is right up your alley, you're the expert, can we have a few minutes of your time? I'd say half of the times you would get them to agree to make time for you. So this is the kind of engagement that we would do. So not to get too deeper into exactly what the needs of the entrepreneur will be, because they change a lot. So we will have to do that programmatically. And this is going to take a while before we'd be ready for opening it up. So asset build is what it is. So I don't know if I have any time to take any questions, but I'm around, and please reach out to me. I'll be there this evening. We can talk. Thank you so much for your time.